Video we'll discuss about the inheritance in C sharp. Okay, what does it mean by inheritance and why we use inheritance? So first we will see some description regarding the inheritance. After that we will see the practical implementation uh, regarding inheritance. So today's topic today's topic is inheritance. Okay, what does it mean by inheritance? Okay, inheritance is just a mechanism. Inheritance is a mechanism mechanism to access the member of one class in another class. Inheritance is a mechanism to access the member of one class in another class by parent child relationship, or we can say that by establishing the by establishing parent and child relationship. Okay, inheritance is a mechanism to access the member of one class in another class by establishing parent and child relationship. Okay, suppose I have a class A, and in this class we have members, because you already know a class have a collection of members. Okay, a class can have many members means functions. Okay, functions, properties, variables, these all are members. Okay, whatever that is whatever the class is contained, that all are the members, either the property, indexer, function and variables. These are members. Okay, so what does it mean by inheritance? Inheritance is a mechanism to access the member of one class in another class by establishing a parent and child relationship. Suppose we have a class A, and in this class A we have a member. Suppose we have 2 3 4 members like that, and a second class is B. Okay, and I want to, in class, I want to access the member of A in class B. Okay, I want to access the member of A from the class B. Okay, then what we need to do? We need to establish the relation between parent and child. This class is parent and this is child. Okay, suppose class A is parent class and class B is child class. In class A means parent class, we have multiple members. Okay, and that members I want to access from their class B. Okay, then we need to establish the relationship between parent and child. Okay, I will tell you how to, but first is if I want to use the members of class A, this member of class A, then one way is to rewrite the code. Suppose we have two methods in a class A, then again we can write two methods in class B, and we can access This is one way. Okay. But in this way, we have to rewrite the code in class A. Whatever the code is available in A, again we rewrite the code in class B. Using this method, using this mechanism, what happened? The application size will be increased and the performance of the application is downgraded also. Okay. Then we use mechanism of inheritance. Okay, it's very simple syntax like that. We have a class B and just colon class A. Now we can here we can access member of A, member of class A. Okay, this is the mechanism. This is the syntax. Inheritance is a mechanism to access the member of one class in another class by establishing parent and child relationship. This is a class A and we have members like method 1, method 2, method 3 in this. And we want to access in class B, in child class B, then we can uh, use like this. The syntax is class B colon A. Okay. Then in class B, we can access all the member of the class A. Class A is now in class B, the class A, all the members is available here. Here we can access member of class A. Okay. This is the inheritance syntax. Okay. Here we can access member of class A. Now we have inheritance, we have terms, some terms. Now here class A, which is after colon this is A, that means A is called here, A is called here parent. Okay, and B before colon, that is B, called child. Child means in which we are accessing the member. Okay, and parent means from where the member is coming. Okay, suppose in real life example, just you can take an example. Suppose your father have some property. This is a parent class, and okay, this is your parent. Okay, and your parent have properties. Then finally you get the property. Finally, you are the owner of the property of your parents. Okay, like that is in inheritance also this happen. Okay, whatever the property your father have, the all the property finally that is your property finally at the end. Okay, so in real life example you can also understand. Okay, that is the thing, parent and child relation we establish, and using the inheritance we can access the member of class A in class B. Okay, and in another some there is some terminology in parent child. The class A after colon, the class A is called parent, and before colon that is child. Okay, and also parent is called base, and this parent also is called super super class. This all three terminology used for the parent class A. Okay, and the for child class derived, and third is subclass. But the actual term is parent, parent and child. Mostly used term is parent and child relationship. But in the these for the class A, these three terms used. Someone says parent, someone says base, and someone says super. For the child, for the class B, someone says child, someone says derived, someone says subclass. So we need to know all these terminology. Okay, all are same for this class A, parent, base, super, all are same. And for child B, that is child, derived, sub, all are same. Okay, but we need to know all the terminology. Someone say base, then you, if you don't know, then you confused. Okay, so this is the simple inheritance, but we have multiple uh, rules of the inheritance. One by one we will discuss. Okay, and one more thing in this I want to tell in notes. Parent, child can access all the members of parent class as if child have child as if child is the owner of that, except the private member of parent class. What does it mean? Child can access means this child class B can access all the member of parent class. Whatever the member of parent class is available, that can access by the class B if the inheritance relation is established. Okay, all the members of parent class, child can access all the member of parent class as if child is the owner of that member. Okay, child is the owner. Means to say, if the inheritance relationship is established, then whatever the member is available in parent class, means class A, the child class B can access as a owner. In real life example, you can understand that your father have some property, some cars, then ultimately the child can use as the owner, child can use the property of the parent or the car of the parent as an owner. Okay, except the private member of parent class. What does it mean by except the private member of the class of the parent class? That means suppose parent have some private things means some job. Parent have some jobs, that is private. Parent have some qualification, and that according to that qualification they will get the job. So it is not necessary to get the job. It is not necessary to all the things, all the qualification available for the child, and that job is also applicable to the child, because that thing is private. His parent get the job with his qualification, his time, and his uh, quality. Okay, so that is the that things is private for the parent. Okay, so these type of things, as real life you can understand, like the job, private job is the private for the parent. So in the C sharp scenario, you can this can be managed, or this can be understood by the private. Suppose this member is some member is defined as private, then private members cannot be accessible by the child class. Okay, only the public member or protected member uh, can be accessed. Already you know the regard in previous video we have already discussed regarding access specifier. So private, public, protected, internal, all these know. If you don't know, you and then you can see my previous video regarding the access specifier. Okay, so so whatever the private things for the parent class, that the child cannot be accessed. That's why I have written here, except the private member of parent class, all the members can be accessed from the child class B. Okay, so we'll see the practical implementation. This is the terms for the parent class A, and this is the terms for the child class B, child, derived, and sum. Okay. Now we'll see the practical implementation of these things. After that, we will discuss. So now open the Visual Studio, create a new project, console application, console app, next, inheritance demo. I have write the project name as inheritance demo 1, because we need to discuss six rules regarding the inheritance. So one by one we will discuss, and so with the demo, so inheritance demo on the project name. Now create the project using the .NET Framework 4.8.1. The project is creating. So the project is created. So just rename the class. By default, the class name is program. So we'll rename the class name as class 1. This is saying rename the project all reference and code element for whole project. Yes. Now the class name is changed. Okay. Remove the main method. And by default, the class is internal. So no need to. It is not mandatory to use, because already in previous video you know the class scope is by default internal. Okay, by default the access specifier for the class is internal, and the member of the class is private. By default, access specifier is private. So this is class 1. In the class 1 we have the public void test1. We have a method test1, and in this method just I have printed console dot console dot write line method 1. Suppose I have printed method 1. Okay, but like that we have a method test2 and printed method 2. Okay. Now we have another class, that is class 2. Class 2. In class 2, I want the same method, test 1 and test 2, in this class 2. Then what is the approach? First approach, you can copy and paste here. Okay. If you go with first approach, or we can say if you rewrite the code here from class 1 to class 2, then application size will be increased and your application performance will also be degraded. Okay, so we will use the mechanism of inheritance. So I want to get these member, so we'll inherit the class 1 in class 2. So colon class 1. I want to get I want to get the class 1 members in class 2. Class 2 colon class 1, class 1, this one. So in class 2, all the member of class 1 is available except the private member of the class 1. Okay. So the inheritance is established. Only we need to write this code. Okay. No need to write these all code. Okay. So inheritance means base. The base thing is the base things to use inheritance means reusability. Okay, when the code is write once, okay, then we can use everywhere. Okay, write once and use wherever you want. That is reusability. Here the code is written, then I don't want to write this code again. We can reuse this code using the inheritance. So I have to reuse this code. So I have used inheritance mechanism colon class 1, and in this class we need to define the static method, main method, static void main. This is the entry point of the program. So static void main, and now in this main method we create the instance of the class 2. We create the instance of the class 2. Suppose C, new class 2. Okay, now using C dot test 1, C dot test 2, we can call both the method. Okay, and here, so read line. Here you can see I have created the instance of class 2, and using the instance variable of the class 2, I can call the member of class 1. Here I have not write any member of class 1, but I can call here. Okay, so if you hover the mouse on this, then you can see void class 1 dot test 1. That means, what is these things? That means test 1 method is belong to the class 1. Test 1 method is belong to, actually the test 1 method is belong to class 1, and this also saying that test 2 method is belong to class 1. Okay, what does it mean? This means suppose this is a parent class and this class 2 is child class. Parent class have two cars, car 1 and car 2. Okay, in real scenario you can understand the parent have two cars, car 1 and car 2. So child means class 2 can use the car 1 and car 2 as the owner of this car. but actual the registration number, that car's registration number belongs to the parent. Okay, that is the scene. That means this is saying the test one is actually belong to class 1, but this child, means this child class 2, is accessing the cars, accessing the method as the owner of the car, as the owner of the method, but this actually belongs to the class 1 because the registration number of the car is belongs to class 1. Okay, so when we run this, then you get method 1, method 2 as the output. Method 1 and method 2 as the output. Okay, suppose in the class I have defined a method test 3, test 3. Okay, then test 3 we can call, and we can call in by the instance of class 2 because this member is available in the class 2, and this 2 member is coming using the inheritance. So finally in class 2 we have 3 method. 2 is coming from the parent, and 3 is test 1, and test 2 is coming from the parent, and this test 3 is belong to class 2. So finally in class 2 we have 3 methods. Okay, but this test 1 is belong to class 1, and also test 2 is belong to class 1, but test 3 is belong to class 2. Here you can see over, and you can see the test 3 belong to class 2. Okay, so when you run, then again you get the output method 1, method 2, and method 2 also, because I have not changed in third one. That's why here you can write method 3 and you run, then you get method 1, method 2, method 3. Okay, and this is the simple inheritance. Now here we'll add one more thing, that is the rule first. Inheritance rule first. What is the rule first? Child class constructor. Parent class constructor, not child class, parent class. Parent class constructor need needs to be accessible by child class for inheritance. That's parent class constructor must needs parent class constructor must needs to be accessible by child class constructor. Parent class constructor must needs to be accessible by child class constructor for inheritance. Okay, what does it mean by rule first? I have right. Parent class constructor must needs to be accessible. Means parent class constructor must needs to be accessible by child class constructor for inheritance. Inheritance is not possible if the child class constructor is not access. If the child class constructor unable to call the parent class constructor. What does it mean? Inheritance is not possible if the child class constructor, this is a class when we have created the instance. Then what happened? In the constructor video, you already know the each and every class implicitly have default constructor. If there is no explicitly constructor is defined, then each and every class have implicit default constructor that is by default public also. Okay. Then what happened? Suppose here we creating the instance of the class 2, then it's calling the implicit default constructor, and implicit default, this is calling the implicit default constructor of the class 2, and the class 2 is calling the implicit default constructor of the class 1. The class 1 also we have no constructor, then we have implicit constructor. Okay, then what happened, we create the instance of class 2, then it calls the implicit default constructor of the class 2, and the class 2 implicit default constructor is calling the parent class implicit default constructor. Okay, now uh, if you don't understand, then I practically write the constructor. This is explicit default constructor. This is explicitly default constructor, and this constructor I write class 2 constructor is called. Like that, we have again write the explicit default constructor in class 1. Class 1 constructor is called. Okay, then what happened when we create the instance of the what I'm saying that when we create the instance of the class 2, then first if there is no constructor, then implicit default constructor, but here explicitly the constructor is defined, then this constructor is called, means this constructor is called, and again without executing this one, this this class 2 constructor is calling the parent class constructor. Okay, is calling the parent class constructor class 1. If this constructor is also this class, if this class is a child class of another class, then this constructor is calling the another parent class constructor. Constructor and default constructor here. It by default calling the default constructor. Okay. So again, if we have 10 class, and we have created the instance of 10th class, then calling the 10 calling the constructor of ninth class is calling the constructor of 8th class is calling the constructor of 7th class until top parent constructor. Okay, and the execution is happening from the top to bottom. Then the first constructor, this one executed, after that this one executed, child class top to bottom is parent to child, constructor execution is parent to child, and calling is bottom to top, means child to parent. Okay, then what happened that when this instance is created, then this constructor is called, and this constructor is called this parent class constructor. So first line they printed is class 1 constructor is called, then class 2 constructor is called, then this one method, this one, like that, test 1, test 2, test 3. Okay, so when we run this one, then class 1 constructor is called, class 2 constructor is called, method 1, method 2, method 3. I think you understood the point. And here I have write what things. Parent class constructor must need to be accessible by child class constructor for inheritance. Inheritance is not possible if the child class constructor is not getting if the child class constructor is unable to call the parent class constructor, then how it possible? If the parent class constructor, this child class constructor class 2 is calling the parent class constructor this one, and suppose this one I have write private or remove the public. Remove the public means by default the class member by default access specifier is private, so this is private. No access specifier for member, that is private. So run, what happened? Inheritance is not possible. When we build, then what happened? Class 1 dot class 1, class 1 means class 1, and class 1 is constructor is inaccessible, means class 1 this one, and class 1 is this one constructor is inaccessible, where this is the reason. Okay, then inheritance is not possible. Public, if I applied public, then it run successfully, no problem. But here remove class 2, then also no problem, it will run. Why this is run? Why the build is succeeded? Because the build is succeeded because this because for the inheritance the child class need to be called the child class is able to call the parent class constructor. Okay, this need to be public, this need to be public, because child class calling the parent class constructor, so this need to be public. But this class is not called. If this class also have some child class, then this create problem, because this class have not any child class. So this class is only calling the parent class constructor, then parent class constructor must be public. This class constructor is not need to be public here in this case. Okay, so I think you understand the point and understood the rule first. Then in next video we'll discuss rule second, third, four, and five. I think the video is becoming very loud. That's why I need to be pissed off here. So we'll continue this session in next video. That's all. Thank you.